Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. Let us continue with the chapter Control and Coordination. In the previous session we had studied that how this control and coordination is maintained by our nervous system. The nervous system is comprised of various parts, right? It was what? It was the brain, then the spinal cord and the nerves. But all these are associated with different parts of the body, and they are controlling the different functions of the body in a very different manner. The function is control and coordination, definitely. But the way they are communicating with the other part, the parts they are formed, the function they are actually performing, these are quite different from each other. And therefore on this basis the function or the nervous system is further classified as a central nervous system, then peripheral nervous system and the autonomous nervous system. And briefly we have introduced these three types already in the previous session. What was the central nervous system? It is a central or commanding or decision making center of the body, right, and is comprised of brain and the spinal cord. Whereas the next part is peripheral, which helps in communicating the peripheral organs of the body, or we can say the different parts of the body or the muscles with the central nervous system. So it must be comprised of what? The nerves. And then the next part was the autonomous nervous system, which helps in maintaining or which helps in the regulation of various processes. So now we had already started with the central nervous system, and in this session let us continue about the same. So the central nervous system, as we had already said, that it is a decision making center of the nervous system and is comprised of what? The brain and the spinal cord. This particular part is also known as the intelligence center. It is known as that command giving center or the director of this nervous system. So this particular system is comprised of brain and spinal cord. Brain is it is made up of three regions, or is divided into three regions, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. We had studied about the different parts of the brain, and in this diagram we can just highlight forebrain is the one which is present towards the front side and is constituting the most of the part of the brain. Then is the midbrain, which is located in the central part and is actually helping in the communication between the forebrain and the hindbrain. Hindbrain, of course, as the name is suggesting, it is located towards the posterior side or towards the root side of the brain and is having a specific role, of course. Now in this session we are going to study about different regions as the different parts of the forebrain and the further things. So now let us study that what this forebrain is it is meant for, and what are the different units or the control sections of the brain in this particular forebrain. So basically this forebrain is known as the intelligence center. You know why is this so? Because it is controlling our mental power. It enables us to think and to take decision or to take various actions with respect to the changes in our surrounding condition. It helps us in understanding the things, memorizing the things, and that is possible because of the specific regions present within the forebrain in the different parts of the brain. So in short, if we have to just understand it broadly, then basically forebrain is made up of two major parts, and that is the olfactory lobe and the cerebrum. Olfactory lobe is present towards the most anterior side or the most front side of the forebrain. That means in short we can say, if we are starting from anterior to posterior part or from front to back, then the first part of this forebrain is supposed to be olfactory lobe. What this olfactory lobe is? It is having a unit, it is having those, it is associated with the sense of smelling. That means which type of sense or organ is participating in this function? That is the nose. Nose is having the special receptors which can help us in recognizing the different smell. Receptors are just going to receive this, the particular fragrance or the smell, and then whether you like it or you don't like it, or whatever type of interpretation is going to be made, that is maintained by the olfactory lobe. So this is how this olfactory lobe is actually associated with what? With the sense of smelling. Then the next part is what? The cerebrum. This cerebrum is divided into different regions, as they could be named as frontal actually we call them as the lobe, not the region exactly. It is that part, but is forming a lobe like structure, or we are simply calling it as a lobe. So the cerebrum is having what type of parts? These are divided into 4 lobes, that is frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe and temporal lobe. Now each these lobes, they are associated with different type of sense organs or different type of parts, and then they are functioning accordingly by receiving the message, by receiving these stimulus, and then they are functioning accordingly. So now let's clearly understand about each part here. See, the olfactory lobe. This olfactory lobe, as we had already said, that it is situated towards the most anterior part of the brain. Now it is associated with what? With the sense of smell, right? Now the sense of smell, how do we smell anything? It is possible because of the presence of these olfactoreceptors in the particular region. Now what these olfactoreceptors are? They are the special sensory cells, or they are the special receptors which are located in the sensory cells of the nose, and this makes possible to smell anything. Now these olfactoreceptors are of great importance, and they are having different efficiency in different type of organisms. It is very well developed in the case of dogs, and this particular thing you must be aware of very well. Dogs, they can smell the things, and this is the reason why they are used for the different sort of investigation also. Beside this, even you can say, if dogs are they are just receiving such type of stimulus, they can even store them in the memory, and then they can recover it at the time of next time when they are exposed to the similar smell. But these receptors, they are poorly developed in the case of human beings. As we if we compare it with the dogs, it is almost nullified, but it never means that we cannot smell out anything. The receptors are present in the nasal cavity over the membrane, and of course we can respond to the changes in the smell, and this is the reason we can sort out the different type of smells, or the odor, or we can say like the fragrance and all. Now this is the part which is associated with the nose or the olfactoreceptors. The next part of the forebrain is cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. We said that forebrain is the largest part, right? Then we said that it is divided into 2 parts. What are they? It is the olfactory lobe and the cerebrum. Then olfactory lobe is quite a smaller section, and cerebrum is so large. In fact, we can say that it is the largest part of the brain. It is almost occupying 2/3 of the entire brain. This much area is, or this much things is occupied by the brain. Now this cerebrum is actually divided into left and right part, and each part is known as a hemisphere. These left and right hemispheres are very well developed, and they are further subdivided into different regions. And each region or each lobe is further helping us to just receive the stimulus from the different type of receptors. So this part, you know how it is actually helping us out? It enables us to observe the things. How can we observe the thing? We are, suppose you are looking at your system, you are looking at these lectures, you are listening to the session. What exactly is happening here? You know, you are just listening to the voice. So that voice is what? It is a sound. It is a vibration made by the sound waves. And these sound waves, they are basically a stimulus, which is received by what? By the phonoreceptors, which are located in your ears. Similarly, you are reading or you are looking at the screen also, isn't it? So how you are able to see the things? It is possible because of the photoreceptors present in your eyes. And now these particular things, they are collecting the data and they are conveying this particular message, or they're transmitting these particular things, whatever you are listening or you are looking at, and that is conveyed to the cerebrum through the nerves. Now over there they are interpreted. So this sort of interpreted, looking or watching or seeing is one thing. The interpretation which is made further is the part of the cerebrum. Receiving is at the terminal point, and then further the message has to be conveyed, and then your interpretation is there, which will help you to make a person intelligent, to understand the things, and so on. So it is this part, that is cerebrum, which is actually helping you to observe the things. Now observing and then taking the decision, then thinking then whether you have understood it properly or not, or then further what action you have to take. That means if you agree, you will nod your head accordingly, right? So this nodding is the response you are giving, or it is going to be fed in your memory. So all these are the functions of the cerebrum. Not only the observation, it also governs our mental abilities. Now observation, many people are looking at the same thing, they're observing the same things, but how they are understanding it, how they're interpreting it, how they are thinking about it, or how they are memorizing, all this is the next phase of your this action. So that part is also under the control of the cerebrum. So therefore we can say that cerebrum is not only helping us to observe the things, but it also helps in governing our mental abilities, like thinking about something, emotions, reasoning. Now that reasoning could be for fun, or it could be accurate, or it could be relevant. Then memorizing the things. This memorizing is of course again important. Memorizing, as you can store the things in your memory. What you mean by this memory? How you keep it in the memory? It is not a storage, or it is not some storehouse or something, isn't it? That you can pick the thing and keep it over there. No, memorizing means you are keeping it in the cerebrum. It is actually learned over there. So next time when you look at it, or even when you don't, you can recall the things without any problem. So that capacity of memorizing the things is also a control, it is also a function of the cerebrum. Similarly, the learning. Some people understand the things, some people learn it. They just ratify the things. So that learning is something different, and some are very good in that part. The learning things means you can just by heart the things, and you can just write it or you can just copy it as it is for the next time. So of course it is an art. Everybody cannot do this learning also. So that learning is a capacity, or it is a function maintained by the cerebrum. A sense of responsibility, a very important thing. This sense of responsibility, this consciousness about various things, is also a function of a cerebrum. For example, you and your suppose your younger brother or someone, they are left alone at home and your mom says take care of your younger brother. What will happen? You take it seriously and you take care in a proper way, or you simply say okay, yes, you just go, don't worry, and further after that your younger brother is doing anything and you are busy in watching movies, right? So this sense of responsibility, that whether you should take care properly because the child is younger to you, or you just avoid it and you do your own mischievous things. So that responsibility, whether you should perform it properly or not, that sense of consciousness about the various things, that is of course under the control of your cerebrum. It shows that how much cerebrum is so working positively in your mind. Next is the common sense. You must have heard about these things. Some things are very common, which is not common with everybody. Just joking. So actually this common sense, a thing that something is happening, then you should do it. That is understood. So that thing is also performed by the cerebrum. Logic. Apply some logic to various things. How this logic is applied is under the control of cerebrum. So you can develop all these qualities. See, we are not, things are not God gifted, right? Everything is not provided by the God. The God has provided you the cerebrum. You can, if you are weak in something, you can learn it, you can practice for that, and then definitely you can develop such type of aspects in yourself. So all this is just possible by the development of the cerebrum. In the case, like we can say, in some people, some part is strong, in others the other things are stronger. So that's what make the difference. Otherwise, we all are provided with this cerebrum. So the cerebrum is actually comprised of different parts, and we can see there are different sort of things or the functions which are actually controlled by the this cerebrum. So each different activity is actually under the control of different parts of the cerebrum. Let us find out what these parts are. So the very first part is what? It is occipital lobe. Occipital lobe is basically associated with the visual reception. We are saying it is associated with the visual reception. Mind it, the word reception is used. So basically, now what you can interpret out of this thing? Visual, that means associated with the vision, and vision is linked with what? With your eyes. Eyes, that means there is a location for the photoreceptors. So these photoreceptors, when they are stimulated, they are transferring the message into the linked nerves over there, and then these nerves will transfer, or it will transmit the impulse to the brain. But in which region? Which part of the brain? That is occipital. So this is this part which helps in visualizing the things. Now you can visualize it, you can have that impression that what it is, but further you have to give a response, right? Control and coordination is having two basic phenomena. One is to get stimulated or to recognize the things, and then second part is what? To give a response. That is the another part. So both things have to take place simultaneously. In this part, as we are discussing about the occipital, so it is associated with the visual reception, so that the things are further interpreted and the response is to be generated. So that response part is it is further controlled by the further other part also. So in this case, that is actually located in the midbrain. So for vision, for visualizing the things and then giving response, that function is basically controlled by two different regions within the brain. One of it is occipital lobe, which is having which can actually gets activated by the photoreceptors. The next part is what? It is frontal region. So this frontal part or the frontal lobe of the brain controls the muscular activities of the body. What does it mean? It means that the muscular, that means the muscles, how they are contracted, how they are relaxed, and how the movement has to take place. All such type of movement associated with the muscular functions is under the control of the frontal lobe. Now that may be activated by various stimulus, but further response has to be generated, and that is of course because of the messages conveyed from these frontal lobes. Then comes the temporal. The temporal region or the temporal lobe is actually it is linked or it is associated with auditory functions. Auditory, as the name itself is suggesting, the listening. You can hear various things, you can observe the sound. So that function which is related to the sound stimulus is controlled by the temporal lobe. You can listen various things, you are listening and still you can behave as you have not heard about it. So basically all these functions, that what you are receiving, the message is received by the phonoreceptor and is conveyed further by the nerves which are connecting your ear regions with the brain. In the brain, which part? That is temporal. Then in response, you have to take some action, like we can say, like even here when you are listening, if you agree, you nod your head accordingly. If you are tired, you will just change your position. Or if you're getting some command from your teacher or from your mother or anywhere, or if you are listening to the music according to beat, you are shaking your body. So all those responses given further are actually controlled by the different parts. If it is a movement, associated part is frontal lobe. Then in response to what? That is the further another thing. So we cannot say that all these they are having the different receptions, but of course they have to work together in coordination. The next part is the parietal lobe. Parietal lobe is receiving the information from different type of sense organs. Different, like the one which is present in the sense skin or different parts, anything. All these senses are actually observed and interpreted by the parietal lobe. For example, touch, as it is located where? In the in your skin. Then smell, as the olfactory receptors, they are received by the olfactory lobe and then interpreted by the parietal lobe. Temperature, and different type of things or different senses, they are observed by or controlled by the parietal lobe. So in short, we can say the things which are responding to the sensory cells of the body, they are actually controlling your conscious association, right? So this consciousness of the body is partly controlled by the parietal lobe. Further, let us we can show you these particular regions or the lobes present in the brain. This, the front part is known as the frontal lobe. See this upper, this is actually the cerebrum, isn't it? So in the cerebrum, this is your frontal lobe, then the parietal lobe. Parietal lobe, after that there is the occipital lobe, which is quite small and is situated at the back side. And then is the temporal lobe. So this temporal lobe is further present in this region and is associated with what? With the auditory functions. Now beside this, we have also highlighted the cerebellum, brain stem, medulla oblongata and pons. So these three parts, pons, medulla oblongata and cerebellum, they are the part of hind brain. Midbrain is somewhere located in the center behind the temporal lobe, or nearby somewhere the temporal lobe. So here it is the location and is a picture which can actually clarify that which part of brain is actually controlling which type of function. Then further, now we can therefore conclude that cerebrum or forebrain is therefore considered as the main thinking part of the brain. All your thoughts, your sensation, actions, movements, emotions, all these are controlled by the cerebrum. Not only this much, your voluntary actions are even coordinated by the cerebrum. So this is the reason why we are calling it as a main thinking part or as the intelligence center. So with this, now let us end up with this session, and further we are going to continue about different parts of the brain in the next session. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.